I know something you talk about when you're looking at, different toxicities are binders. And that's like a big one right now. Everyone's kind of talking about what binder are you and how, what are you doing and what are you doing to detox, right? What are some of the ways you like to detox patients and how does that come about? What's the protocol and regimen with binders and detoxification?
Yeah, I have a whole system. I use it every time. It works really well. So I always kind of, so to distinguish where when I'm doing a consult with like a new client or something, I kind of have to categorize them of like, is this standard American metabolism? Like they've got the fatty liver, insulin resistance, sluggish thyroid, leaky gut, the full gamut of just standard American metabolism milieu junk. Their health at a deep foundational metabolic level is deeply fractured, right? And then you have this kind of growing demographic that is, the canaries, right? Like they are the canaries of America that are dying because, hey, the American environment and lifestyle is not healthy. And they're the sensitive ones that, get damaged by that. What gets really hard is when you have a canary that is metabolically ill. They're both, right? There are some people like my ex-fiance who she lived a very healthy lifestyle. So you can't say that, she was metabolically compromised, but she was a canary and she got leveled and wrecked. She was the, full blown like SIRS, bedridden, fibromyalgia, the full symptom cluster. And so what's really hard about working with that complex chronic illness demographic is you kind of have to like rebuild their metabolic health from the foundational level while trying to deal with the stealth infections and the toxicity. And it's super impractical. Like, how do you rebuild a house like while it's on fire kind of thing?
Yeah.
So that's really hard. But this is where, as far as the binders and kind of the basic protocol stuff, I always start with serum bovine immunoglobulins as more. People don't usually think of those as like a binder, but they are. I mean, you're putting exogenous antibodies into the gut, into the system. Those glycoproteins, they latch on to toxins and pathogens, induce phagocytic immune cells to come gobble it up and clean it up. So I think the serum bovine immunoglobulins, which is kind of like the up-to-date colostrum, basically, those are magic. I love those. I megadose those. I've never seen a bad reaction. So that's always number one because it's gentle, it's efficacious. But then more of a traditional adsorbent binder like the, bentonite, activated charcoal, zeolite, apple pectin, humic fulvic acids. I like to use kind of broad spectrum binders at, multiple. And of course, there's the fiber conversation, right? Konjac fiber and psyllium husk and dietary fiber, insoluble. All of these, have their binding properties and capacities. Plus, you're getting the prebiotic boost. So that's kind of like how I'm starting. Then I put in like spore biotics, endospore probiotics to start remodeling the terrain, improve keystone strains, improve microbial diversity. The big one is short chain fatty acids. Like we can't heal our gut, we can't heal our microbiome, we can't heal the blood-brain barrier and calm down microglial activation without adequate short chain fatty acids. And that's where, the binders can help mitigate, and mop stuff up. But the probiotics, the prebiotics, the fiber, the FODMAPs, which is why I'm not a big fan of low FODMAP diets, is that's what feeds your garden of life. That is the microbiome. Fish oil is big, omega-3s, zinc, folate for the intestinal barrier. I like zinc carnosine a lot. I'll throw that in. Zinc is a big one for the intestinal barrier that people kind of overlook and folate and some of those. But that's kind of like the starting point. I usually am working on the gut first, making sure motility is good and all of that. Once I kind of have the gut like quarantined, then I kind of move to the liver, and then start working a little bit more up systemically because I never want to like push detox, until you open the drainage pathway,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or, whatever we want to call it these days. But that's kind of like my starting point. And I would say that to the whole world of like, you don't need a practitioner to do that. Just like, go do that, titrate, be careful, work with a practitioner and get some help. But, it works like a charm. It really does. It's a good way to mitigate the damage and the fallout, start improving the terrain, start remodeling from the inside out.